Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to be discussing whether the idea of September pullbacks are recency bias or if they have always existed. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. If you guys like this content and want access to more of this type of content, then check out the premium list sale. It is ending tomorrow. So go ahead and check it out. Lock in the low rate. You will get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, and more. Let's go ahead and jump in. So what does this table show? Well, it shows, going back to the inception of Bitcoin for months that we have data, it shows the monthly returns. Okay, so if you bought Bitcoin at the very beginning of the month and then you sold it at the very end of the month, what would your ROI have been? And you may have noticed that I've said many times that Bitcoin tends to not do so well in September. But I also say that just because it's what I've recently experienced. And a lot of times, recency bias can affect our view on the market. It is my opinion, in the same way, a lot of people assume that the market cycle peak has to be in December because it was in December last time. And then they may point to the fact, or what they consider to be a fact, of the market cycle peak for Bitcoin happening in December of 2013. But actually, on most exchanges that I looked at, in fact, all of the ones that I looked at, the market cycle peak for Bitcoin in 2013 was actually at the end of November. And then the one in 2011 happened in the summer. So again, recency bias has a way of clouding our judgment because we base it on what we've recently experienced and not what are prior trends. So for instance, with pullbacks in September, it's what I've recently experienced over the last few years. But I also was like, well, what if it hasn't always been like that? And in order to do that, in order to investigate whether it's recency bias or not, we simply need to do nothing more than look at the data and challenge our assumptions. So is it recency bias or not? If you look at September returns by Bitcoin, 2020 was negative 7.5%, 2019 negative 13.5%, 2018 was negative 6%, 2017 was negative 8%. So what do we notice? Well, the last 4 years, the returns on Bitcoin in September have actually been negative. So we can at least say that there is some recency bias there to say, well, the reason I speculate that September will not be the best month in the world for Bitcoin is because it hasn't recently been the best month for Bitcoin over the last 4 years. But if you go back even further, you can see that every September is not always red. For instance, in 2016, Bitcoin increased by approximately 6% in September. In 2015, it increased by about 3% in September. Now, I don't know anyone in their right mind getting out of bed for a 3% or a 6% gain in Bitcoin over the span of a month, but it does at least show that it can go up in the month of September. But if you go back even further to 2014, you can see another 20% or 19% drop in September. 2013 was about a 0.6% gain. And then 2012 was the only double-digit gain by Bitcoin in September, coming in at a very modest 22%, capping it off in 2011 with a negative 37% drop. So some brief statistics here are that out of 10 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them were red. So 6 out of 10, 3/5, a 60%, or out of 60% of the time, September has been red. But we could also take that one step further and say that 90% of the time, the gains in September have been less than double digits. Okay, either positive or at a loss. 90% of the time, the gains in September have been less than double digits to the upside. And the only time where we saw a double-digit gain in September was, again, back in 2012, so almost a decade ago when we last saw a double-digit gain in September. We can maybe try to mine this data a little bit more and look at years and say what happened in months leading up to September. For instance, in 2020, we saw that July was a double-digit gain, and August was a very modest 3% gain, and then September was red. In 2019, July and August and September were red. In 2018, July was green, August and September were red. In 2017, July was green, August was green, September was red. In 2016, red, red, green. So far in 2021, we are looking at July being green, August being green, and if September is green, then let's see how many years we would have to go back to find 3 green months in a row starting in July. So clearly we would not have had it in 2020. Obviously we can go all the way down to at least 2016 because we know we had 4 red months of September in 4 years straight. Clearly this year wasn't 3 green in a row. This one wasn't 3 green. This one wasn't either. The time where we last had 3 green months in a row, starting in July, going through September, was all the way back in 2013. And September came in at a very modest 0.64%. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that in September, in the last 4 years at least, we have seen Bitcoin have a pullback. Does it mean that Bitcoin has to have a pullback this September? Well, no, it doesn't. Even if every September, even if all 10 prior Septembers by Bitcoin had been red, it doesn't mean that this one would also have to be red. The markets just simply don't work like that. We cannot expect them to behave exactly the same way. What it shows you is that historically this has happened, right? This has happened, and let's see what happened after it. So if we were to get a red month in September, like we did for the last 4 years, you can see that October ended up being green after that September 75% of the time. In fact, 2 of those years, in 2017 and 2020, 2017 and 2020, we can see that October, November, and December were green after putting in a red September. So I do not think that if September is red, that everyone needs to be overly concerned with the price of Bitcoin. If anything, that would be the path of least resistance. But again, we are relying somewhat on recency bias. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember to check out the sale on the premium list. That is ending tomorrow. Lock in the lower rate if you guys want access to the weekly videos and reports, the Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, and more. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, click the bell icon to turn on notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.